the focus group is a focus group. And I think I used the company last time, Calvin Klein, for a new fragrance. Okay, I don't know if he even has fragrances. Calvin Klein, if he has new underwear, I don't know what the heck it is. Okay, but I'm using a big major brand. Okay, every time any major company, any substance of company, any small, if they're paying attention, they start with a focus group. Okay, this bottle right here. Okay. Not this bottle, but this bottle's only been out for Fiji for a short period of time, maybe 3 years. I started drinking Fiji 10 years ago. Okay, I like Fiji water. But they went out and found out, Fiji did, that if they were to they went out and put a focus group together and said, help us sell. The purpose of this focus group being put together is to help us bring the product to more people in, I'll say America, but I use America, but around the world. How do we do that? So they put a focus group together of the demographics, the age, the sexes, the education, whatever they pull together, and they put a focus group together to be able to share. Guess what they're going to be trying to, guess what they try to dial in? 3 words. What are they? Somebody help me. What's the 3 things that this gig economy is all about? What's the 3 things? The first one is audience. Okay. Write that down if you haven't got it. Audience. Okay. Who's going to help me with the second one? You guys are probably still on me. Audience, language, and behavior. They want to know the audience that's going to go. If they're going to get a different size bottle to introduce new people to Fiji water, then they need to know who is that audience that they would like to attract. Okay. And in this, it would be more of a sports, okay, a more outside, a more energetic. Okay. I use this today. I always use the bigger bottle of Fiji because I like drinking. I love the water. Okay. Now, they said, okay, we want to attract, we believe we want to bring out this to a group of people of this age group, of this thinking, of this education audience. Okay. They just find that. Then they go out and put a focus group together and said, okay, this is the audience. Okay. We're going to be discussing with you over the next 90 days in this focus group. That's what they would be saying to Fiji. And we're going to be sharing the language that we believe that will appeal to this audience. You guys understand that we think they don't know. That's why you put a focus group together. You don't know. You conceptually, okay, and have generalizations about what it should be. You don't start from blind. I'm not saying that, but they say, we want to attract this audience. They define that and they tell the focus group, and they have like-minded people in that audience on the focus group. This is the messaging that we believe that will attract the people to want to try this water. Okay, audience, language, and here's the behavior we want to create. And that is what? Buy it. Audience, language, and behavior. Guess what that takes? Generally about a year in most major brands. About a year. Why? Because they got to start dialing it in. Well, one thing for us in the focus group, we already know the audience. We already know the language. We already know the behavior. We already know that we got the biggest catchphrase ever to get their attention to raise their hand, and that's called what? Change your, what is it? Come on, show me. Okay, change your what? Come on, pay attention. Change your face and change your finances. Or change your finances and change your face. Okay, that's a catchphrase, the language why they should try your Fiji water, which just happens to be the products. Okay, so they put a focus group together, and it usually goes in 3 sections of 90 days. The first 90 days is starting it. Now, what we're in right now is the second 90 days of what Fiji water would be in, but we're in our first 90 days. And we started in May, June, and July. Okay. And what are we going to be doing here? We're going to be working with all of you to be able to work with you and help you pick up and identify the audience that's out there looking for you. And what is that audience? 73 million people. Right now, that's how big this audience is for our Fiji water, which is change your face, change your finances. Who is in that audience? What is the demographics of that? Okay, we know what it is, okay? of up to 35 years of age. 25% of that 73 million is between basically 18 and 35 years of age. Okay. Everybody thinks it's the millennials. The millennials don't have any money, guys. They don't have any income. They don't have that. They're all trying for it, but they don't have it. That's why they're living at home. That's why they don't have all the things they have, because of inflation and the difficulties. Okay. They're looking for something, but the millennials up to 35 is only 25% of that 73 million. Okay. 50% of that 73 million is from 35 to 55. Okay. And that's people that don't have a whole lot of, as a whole, they're less computer, less technology involved. They're less everything. They're more person to person. You guys understand what we're talking about. Okay. That's 50% of that 73 million. But let me tell you where bread and butter is. Okay. For over from 55 and up. 55 and up is the 25%, the final 25% of the audience that you're looking for your, okay, focus group, your attention. You're looking for that. So we're going to dial all of that in here, and we're doing it in the first 90 days, May, June, and July. Then we'll start focus group number 2 with all of you and all the new people that start up. We'll go into the second 90 days with us, because remember what Taylor said, the way you bring them in is the way you bring them up. You guys came in, and who knows what, because it came from every sector. There was no focus group. Just get on this thing and get going and all that stuff. You guys came on that way. You guys are going to now be, after the first 90 days, are going to be equipped to be able to be dialed in on who your audience is, the language that they speak to each other. What does someone between 18 and 35 talk about? Differently than 35 to 55, differently than from 55 and above. They talk differently. It may have the same impact on them about finances and satisfaction and future and discouragement, whatever it may be. They may have those things, but you got to identify that audience, language, and behavior. So we're going to, May, June, and July, we're in the second month. You guys got to start picking up this quicker. You got to start finding out who my audience is. Who is it? Okay. What language do they speak? What behavior do we want them to get interested in what we're doing? And then the next 90 days is we're going to start bringing them in towards the end of May, June, and July. And in July, August, and September and October, we're going to be bringing them in that way. And your big punch for this focus group is going to come the last 60 days of this year to start off the first quarter of 25. That's what the focus group is all about, because in 25, January is going to be when we're going to conceptually say we are officially open. We know the audience, we know the language, we know the behavior. So we'll dig into that as we go.
So, some of the things that because Larry said very clearly, we have talked about these things, but we want to reiterate these, because you don't know them until you can't actually forget them. But I want to go back to some of the things whenever we talk about use talk demo. We talked about, we covered that last week. And whenever we get into the talking phase, I want to go back to the talking phase. Everybody, by using the products, use talk demo, that truly is part of your job description every single day. And whenever you wake up, right, if you're going to change your face so you can change your finances, what do you have to do? You have to put the product on you. You have to be a product of the product. If you're not using the product, how can you talk to people about this product? You can't, because you don't feel strong enough about the product if you're not using it. So you have to use the product. When do you use the product? Anytime, right? How to use the product? It's so simple to do. It's boo say boo. I don't know. Just put it on. So using the product, becoming a product of the product, taking a before and after picture, using your before and after, even if you don't have a story or you haven't had a chance to take an after photo. We have so many photos inside of these groups that you can use to be able to talk to people about this product just by sharing those results. That's part of the talking phase by documentation worth more than conversation every day of the week, because it does go back to the fact of whenever people want to ask you a question about the products, they want to ask you the questions about the ingredients. This is where where you get stuck. And I know all of you want to be professional. I know that we've been brought into, especially if you've had any experience in the network marketing space, we've been told, well, the profession, right? Some of you, I hear two different, it's the profession or it's the industry. Okay, depending on where you come in is how you connect to that. But so many times people get so caught up in being a professional that they lose sight of the person that's standing in front of them. We lose them by trying to be so professional and by being all knowledge and know all the answers to all their questions. Guys, ladies, guys, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know about that frees you from being the all-knowing guru of having all the answers. Whenever they ask you the ingredients to these products, like, you can very easily say, I don't know. I don't know about all that. I just know it's...
Especially if you know every detail.
And this is so critical because we paint ourselves in a box. Once you start answering one question, then it leads to the next question and the next one and the next one and the next one. And before you know it, you've literally talked yourself out of a customer.
I got to interrupt you. Even if you don't talk yourself out of a customer, even if you don't talk yourself out of a planner or manager, even if you don't, the way you bring them in is the way you bring them up. And they're going to think they have to do the same thing. They got to know the answers to those questions. And the least come out, and when you get as comfortable saying, I don't know about that, all I know is this, because let me tell you something. All you really know is what happened to you and what happened to the people in the pictures. You don't even know what the pictures unless you took them. You know your picture, and you might have known somebody else's picture, but you don't know what the scientist said. I'm saying the science, and you take like Angie. Angie does those presentations. She's unbelievable, okay? But you don't know if what she's saying is true. It is, but you don't know it. The only thing you know is what happened to you and what happened to your brother and what happened to your sister. That's all you really know, and that's all you have the authority to talk about, and it will work. And it doesn't matter if it's tiger grass or leopard grass or panther grass. You can get it all mixed up. It doesn't matter. You can say it's 5 times larger in the plant or 4 times smaller. Doesn't matter. What matters is all you know is change your face, change your finances. Everything else is I don't know about that. If that doesn't get them, well, let's have you walk across hot coals and grow your leadership. Let's have you get a Jim Rohn course, which I believe in all of Jim Rohn stuff. Let's do that and see if that helps.
So what I want to do is I want to take those rocks out of your backpack that you're carrying around. That because you have the mindset that if you don't have all the answers, you're not going to be able to have a conversation and share the products and get a new customer, a new planner. And that's just not true. That's just not true. And so whenever you can point to not only, we talked about your story being the most valuable story, meaning that the reason that you whenever you come from the perspective as to why you are using the product, what you feel about these products, why you use these products every single morning. And whenever I use the products this morning, this is how I felt. And I love that snow enzyme, and I love how it tingles on my face. You know, I love how it bubbles up, and I love whenever I spray the Boost Boo on. Like I love how my skin, see, I'm not saying anything about the ingredients, but what I am communicating is how I feel about these products. So using the products, becoming and being a product of the product is part of your job description. It becomes a part of what we use this terminology, daily method of operation, what you do every single day, what you have to do to take these products to the marketplace. Whenever you bring value, you get paid for value. So whenever you use, then it gives you something to talk about. Now, so telling your story is one thing, but we talked about this. What are the 4 stories? What are the 4 components? What are those bullet points? I'm going to recap this for you, because these things, us talking about them over and over and over again, are so critical, because this is truly the training of simplicity. It is truly about simplicity over strategy, simplicity over complexity, but simplicity being the strategy. And so whenever we talk about RIMAN, and if somebody is asking you about the company, what are the things that you feel strong about? We talked about it being, new to America. See, for me, that's a huge, huge bullet point. It's new to America. It's less than a year old. And so, which brings us to a point of, this really is a brand new company. So with brand new companies, there has all the things that it's not perfect, right? There's some things that are still the kinks. It's like driving a brand new car. How many times you have to take it back to the dealership because they got to tweak this and they got to tweak that. It's brand new. It's brand new to America. However, it still has 5 years of experience with a lot of sales, with a lot of people who've had amazing results, documentation, and a lot of people who've already proven out the success, that have been able to take the value of this product to the marketplace and to be able to make money with it. So what does that mean? That means that because of longevity to this degree, that means that people are using the products and people are getting results, and people are coming back and repurchasing the products repeatedly over and over, which means that the product works. That is a reference point for you that you should be able to stand on as a brand new person, realizing that it's already working. It's already worked for one. If it works for one, that means it can work for many, right? And whenever you look at people that have already made, because they've taken this value to the marketplace and they've made money with it, that speaks validity to you, because if people are already making money that are taking this to the marketplace, that speaks to you. Wow, if it can work for them like that, that means it can work for me like that. So whenever we say talk to people and talking about the company, brand new to America, right? What is the, it's 35 million bottles sold. Now, I love that, because 35 million bottles sold in a country that has only 50 million people. Wow, that means almost everybody's been using this product. Whenever you look at brand new to America, and did 70 million in sales their very first year, and nobody really knows about that. Those are bullet points. Whenever somebody would ask me about RIMAN, those would be the things that I personally would feel strong about. Now, you may have some other bullet points that have been shared with you. Go ahead and put it in there, like in the chat section, some things that you may feel strong about. It's all, there's not a wrong answer. My point of it is, you don't have to know it all. You just have to know a few that you personally feel strong about, that you're sharing, that you're taking to the marketplace, and why it was important to you, and what caught your attention. So because you may not catch the other person's attention, but whenever it goes back to the you, it, and them, right? Whenever you're telling why and the things that got you excited, that's where the magic is. See, so many times we are talking to people thinking we're going to sell them sell them that this is going to be the best thing that ever happened to them. This is going to be the best product you've ever tried. This is going to be the best business you've ever done. I know you're going to be really, really good at this. So your positioning on this, whenever you take and you have conversations with somebody like that, is a few degrees off, because you have to look at this as to you're sharing with them why you love it. It's no different whenever we talk about sales. That's selling. But if you think about yourself as the tells person, then this comes no different than you talking to somebody why you went to the movie and why you should watch this series and what you liked about it. How many times have I seen in my feed, my friends are like going, hey, I want to watch a series on Netflix. Like, what do you recommend? And what happens? Everybody's telling, oh, I watch this because, oh, you're going to love that. I love this because blah, 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 blah. That's what we're talking about here whenever we're giving you these bullet points. It's not for you to tell them why they should believe it. You're telling them why you believe it, why you are excited about it. It's the posture on this comes completely different. And the way you feel about you in this conversation comes completely different too. So if we're talking, so that's one part of the component, the 4 stories, if you will, the 4 components. These are the things in your toolbox that you need to have every single day as part of your job description and what the tools that you need. So you need to know what those tools are. Like, think about.
Let me jump in here, okay? What Taylor's talking about here is so valuable here, and I'm talking really, it's summary to what you just said in the last minute or two, okay? You're not talking to them. You're talking with them about why you like the product, why you wanted to change your face and change your finances. Why you wanted to, why you wanted to change your finances and then change your face, or change your face and then so possibly change your finances. You're talking to them about that, okay? Audience, language, not why they should do it. I don't care if it's K beauty, J beauty, H beauty. I care about this. I don't care about anything else. I don't care if it's 6 years old, 5 years old, or 100 years old. This is what I care about. Okay, and that's what they're going to come. That's why I joke and say tiger grass, leopard grass. They don't care. 5 times the size of the plant or 1 size that minus the plant. They don't care. They care about this and why you like it, and you position it and say, I have no idea if it's going to do this for you. I have no idea if it's going to do this for you. At first, it didn't do it for me. It took about 2 weeks, but man, look now, or I see this, and if it did it for them, it'd do it for me. And that's why I'm doing it. And maybe you'll like it too. I got no idea. Your job is not to get them to buy. Your job is not to get them to join. Your job is to tell why you are liking the product and why you're changing your face, not the product. Because the product's got nothing to do with it. It's changing the face that's got something to do with it. No matter what the ingredients are, it's changing your face and changing, as a possibility, changing your finances and attack that 73 million. They need it today. People need hope today that they can make extra money, guys. Don't you miss that. Don't you miss it. They'll raise their hand faster for you to talk to them about making $100 and spending $100. Doesn't mean they won't spend $100 for the product. But I tell you what it does mean, you'll get their attention. Somebody knows this vacation this year, many people, that they're not going to be able to go to the resort that they wanted to go in Texas. Instead of going to Florida, they're going to Galveston Bay, okay? That you just have to live here to understand. It is a beach, but there's a difference between Florida beaches and Galveston. There's a huge difference, okay? So all I'm trying to say to you is everybody today, large number of people they'll go without changing their face if they got to give up stuff, okay, to feed their family. All we're trying to do here is paint a picture for you that says over these 3 focus groups to get us to the end of this year, it's all about getting you guys to understand that we're bringing your Fiji water to the marketplace, okay? We're talking tiger grass. We're talking changing face, changing finances. We're talking about that audience, language, and behavior, okay?
So I wanted to say, yes, Lisa, I love, yes, those are the
What
four
did they say?
stories: company, products, rewards, and you. Those are the four stories. Those are that's the headers. Like, think about it like that. And Michelle, yes, I love the fact it's number one, K Beauty. That's such a great bullet point. But to Larry's point, I mean, like, okay, some people may not have heard K Beauty. K Beauty's in the social media world. It's a hot topic. So if that's real important to you, yes. I mean, I have to tell you that whenever I started asking my friends, like, what do you know about Korean skincare? And they were all like, oh my gosh. So yes, it is such a buzzword, and it is such a buzzword that a lot of people who are in the know about it. But there may be somebody that you talk to and then, what's a K Beauty? That may happen to you. It's okay. So I didn't know what K Beauty was myself until my friend let me try these products at her bathroom sink. See, those are all the things that's part of your story. It's all the things, how you got started, how somebody shared the products with you. How did you get a demo? Did you answer, reach out to somebody on a post? Was it a next door neighbor that dropped by a sample? What was that? That's part of your story. That becomes part of the conversation as to how you connected, because all of those things become incredibly unique, and it all starts stirring up their mindset, going, wow, that's so powerful, because they're thinking, if that can happen for her, maybe it can happen for me. Those are very important aspects of whenever you're sharing this, because, well, I don't want.
Let me jump on something, okay?
Wait, I want to say something, because you said something earlier, because so there's like, he starts talking and I think about all these little rabbit trails that I want to go down and address. I'm like, oh, we need to talk about that. Oh, we need to talk about, oh, that's a great one. So, I mean, and Carmen, I think Carmen is sitting here I'm watching her face, and she's just like rolling. She just keeps laughing. So I'm glad we're so entertaining. I love that. I mean, I'm glad you're having a good time, Carmen.
Listen, guys, it's easier than you think it is, okay?
But no. I wanted to say this. This is real important. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
So, because Larry said something that I wanted to make sure this is so good. He said, it's not your job to get them to buy. That's not your job. But what is your job? Your job is to get a decision. That's really your job. And a lot of times, and whenever lots of times, whenever, you tell your story, and you're telling your story and you go, I don't know if it's going to work for me. What do you say? You want to give it a shot? That's the feel. Because whenever you're saying, I didn't know if it was going to work for me, like this person that, shared it with me. I didn't know that if that was going to work for me like it did for them. But I was like, hey, if it works for them if it works for me the way it works for them, I think I want to give it a go. And
you got to remember, I know what Taylor just said about getting a decision. I know what you guys, I got to close them. No, you don't. You have to get them to say, I would like to try it or not try it, or I'd like to try it, but not now, or I don't want to at all. Okay. That's all you're after. You've done your job by going out there and talking to people and saying that. You're not after a decision. You're not after closing them. You know why? You hate to be closed. Every time you get something on your Instagram or TikTok or whatever it may be, you hate the way they keep trying to close you. Why would you do that to somebody else? Because you've been taught that over the last half a dozen years by all this faulty network marketing talk that's out there today that you guys fully understand.
Natural logical conclusion.
You got it.
Natural logical conclusion. Because natural logical conclusion, you want them to come to their own conclusion that I really want to try this, or you know what? I think I can really do this. I've been looking for a way to make some extra money. I've been looking for a way to offset my expenses. This could be the very thing that I've been looking to do. That's the feel.
And the taste is You think that when you go through this, a natural logical conclusion, you know what their natural logical conclusion could be at 6:35 Central Time, Dallas, Texas, okay? That they just got to notice that their cable bill is going to be turned off if they don't pay it tonight. And you're telling them, you made an appointment to tell them about change your finances, and you don't know what they're going through at that moment in time when you're asking them about this. Maybe they'll come back later. Maybe they don't. That's not your job again. Okay, that's not your job. I got 3 things I want to share with you when we're ready here about what I think a salesperson is. Okay.
So now let's talk about, so it was Laura here. So you in your comments, you said 25 rewards and 13 patents. Now for me, if I was talking about that, I would be putting that into the product section for me. That whenever I think about the products and whenever I think about what they've done with the products, that to me is a bullet point for the product aspect. Whenever I think about the tiger grass story, I mean, now I'm gonna, like, those bullet points, there's those things that are important to you. I love the fact that, because whenever you say 13 patents, whenever you say 25 plus global awards, to me, that really speaks efficacy. This is a conversation that other people can't have when it comes to their product line. These are very, very valuable. Whenever you think about, I loved this part whenever they talked about the smart farms, right? When we talked about the smart farms, this company controls every aspect. Like thinking about from the farm to the bottle to your face, they control all the quality controls. They do everything. That is so unique and such a unique selling point for me as far as the products. We could talk about gluten-free. We could talk about cruelty-free. We could talk about those things. All of those are relevant, but I wanted to address that piece right there whenever you talked about 25 rewards and 13 patents. That's my spin on there.
I got to jump in on that, okay? I'm different, okay? I'm totally different in all this. Every time you pick up this phone and see an ad, they all can say something about their product. If it's Fiji water, car products, skin care, hair care, foot care, they can say something about it that says the same concept of 25 patents and 25 awards or whatever it may be. Don't have a conversation that someone else can have. What's the conversation that you can have that nobody else can have? What is it? Come on, help me, okay? Change your face, change your finances. Change your finances, change your face. I don't care about patents, me personally. Yes, I want my people, as they get involved, to know about the patent. I want them to know about the ingredients. I want them to see Angie. I want them to see all that stuff and experience it, to give them the confidence that they don't have to use it. That you can say, oh, I don't know. All I know is I put it on and this is what happened. That's what the goal is. If you're going to go after those 73 million, you got to go after them where they are. They don't want to know all that stuff. They want to know, how do I change my finance? Put it on. How do I change my finances? Show pictures. Okay. Yes or no? How about that job? How about that as a, well, is it that simple? Try it your way. Try it my way. Come back and tell me.
It's this, I mean, and we're not trying, don't think that we're trying to be flippant about any of this. What we're trying to do is emphasize the simplicity of what you have in your hands, the simplicity of taking this product that is so demonstratable to the marketplace and getting it on somebody's skin so they can come to their own natural logical conclusion of what it's done for them. And what it's done for this person and this person and this person and this person. That is the simplicity versus the complexity of you being the professional and knowing all the ingredient list and knowing how all the ingredients work together and all the things that people are asking of you. And you think that you need to go to your upline or your sponsor or to the company or to Angie to get those answers before you can close a sale. And what we're trying to do is remove that hurdle off of your track and get you to believe that the product alone, these things that with Angie and the patents and all, that's the thing that gives you the armor, the body armor of belief that you don't have to know those things.
Let's talk about body armor and talk about first responders, police officers, and military people. They put on the vest, the bulletproof vest, so that if they get shot, it doesn't kill them. Okay? It's their protection. And so I don't know about that. All I know is this is your protection. Because even when you know it, if you knew what a bulletproof vest would do, and you were in the military, the police officers, let me tell you something, you wouldn't go out there without it, because you know it's going to have liabilities attached to it. The way you bring them in is the way you bring them up. And what are we going for? Focus group 1, 2, and 3 to get ready for 25. Watch what happens as you guys start picking this up little by little. Everything that's back there is it's your bulletproof vest to give you the confidence that you don't care wherever the bullet comes from, you're protected. And you're protected because how you bring them in is the way you bring them up, and you're protected with, I don't know about that. All I know is this. And guess what? That's all you know. All you know is this, and all you know is that, okay, of the pictures that you put up. You don't even know it about the other pictures that were put up. You know it about your pictures and the pictures that you have. You know it for sure, okay? But those pictures could be doctored. You know the one, they're not, but they could be doctored, okay? So your bulletproof vest, your protection to not have to say those things is because it's the bulletproof vest to protect you against, I don't know about that. All I know is this, because that's the truth. That's what you know for sure.
Now, what we're telling you, what I'm sharing with you, I think some of the hardest things, especially if you've been doing this ever, is to get past in your mind. If I say I don't know, that makes me look not professional. I've heard this so many times, like, well, I can't tell them I don't know, because gosh, then they're not gonna trust me. They're not going to believe that I know what I'm doing, right? We're sharing this with you because the stronger that you stay with this and you understand the bulletproof vest and the bulletproof armor, and you step out of, because it's really about you and your own comfort zone, right? It's really about, no joke. It really does become about your ego. And my friend Nadia says, your ego is not your amigo, because it's not in this particular situation, because that mindset, that way of thinking could be the very thing, could be the stumbling block for that person that you're having the conversation with, from joining you, from purchasing from you, from becoming a planner, from being this opportunity for them to offset their finances. And I hope that makes some sense what you're saying, because so many times, we make the conversations about us. And whenever you can turn those conversations around and think about the person that you're standing in front of, and make it more really about them, and communicating in a way for simplicity over complexity, then you lower this barrier of entry in their mind that really attracts them to take a step towards you. So hopefully you guys, so you can start really derailing from, or not going after the conversations where you go, well, hang on, I gotta get them on the phone. Let me get a three-way. Let me call so-and-so. Let me call the company. Let me call so-and-so. Let me find out the answer. Because you're so anxious, because you think that's the thing that's going to help them. Whenever I'm sharing with you, sometimes those things can actually hurt them.
I want you to think about being a sergeant on the police force, and you're training your people to go out there in the public, and they got to put on their bulletproof vest. Do you think that they show them the patents on those bulletproof vests? Do you think they show them a video? I'm sure they do some of this stuff. I'm trying to make a point here. The person that's putting it on doesn't care. They trust that, wait a minute, it's a bulletproof vest, okay? That bulletproof vest is, you don't know. All you know is this. That's what you know. And all you know is that you're trying to offset. I didn't say offset. I said trying to offset your food bill. You're trying with this, change your face, change your finance, to offset your, not only your food bill, but your gas bill, and maybe to offset your utility bills, or maybe help offset. I've done that. Now I'm hoping I can offset my car payment, and then I'm hoping to offset my mortgage payment. I'm trying to do that. You're not doing that right now. You're trying to do that, okay? Some of you made pretty good money coming in and sponsoring and do all the stuff that you do. But it's going to take the 25 to get yourself on a stable basis by bringing enough people in like this. With the way you bring them in is the way you bring them up, okay? So they think of the bulletproof vest. The bulletproof vest is what you know happened to you. And what you know to the people that you put in your phone, that you know those are not doctored photos. That's your bulletproof vest. And everything else, I really don't know about that, because you really don't. You may have been told that, but you don't. You haven't been told this. You haven't been told this. You've experienced this, and you've experienced this. That's how you build your business.
So, you guys, are you guys picking up what we're putting down here? I hope so.
That's scaring them to death, I'm afraid. I want to go to a mastermind so I can get good at this. Oh, I got to go to this special account. I got to get to this retreat. I got to really metabolize. How do you metabolize nutrition? You put it in your mouth. Come on. You put it in your mouth and you metabolize as good as it is. And you know what? You may have the best nutrition. I've had great nutritional products in my life, in my career. You could have the best there is. And I take the best there is. But let me tell you something, okay? When you take the best that there is, it's still got to be metabolized. And guess what? I can have something going on in my body that what I've been metabolizing for the last 3 years, I'm not metabolizing the same way. It's not what we share with you guys. It's what you metabolize. Okay, it's what you metabolize at the cellular level, and you can only metabolize it by doing this and having 3 coming back. You can't get this by sharing it unless you do it enough to get 3 fingers coming back. Every time you do this, you're selling you. That's the person you got to sell, not them. It just, here's what happened. You got to say, wait a minute, I like this thing.
Well, I'm going to go back to why focus group? Like, why are you here? So here, whenever, some of the conversations that we've had with several of you that have reached out to us on various, through various conversations, this is the interactivity. Why are focus groups important? Larry was using the analogy of the Fiji bottle. Focus groups are for about somebody going into a group with there's activity, so then there can be feedback. When there's activity, right, then there can be feedback as to, okay, this is good. This is plus, this is plus, I don't know about this. What do you think about? So the point of it is that your activity that you're taking to the marketplace that you've had some experience with, and maybe you've done a little bit of this, maybe you haven't quite got there yet, right? But it's the activity where you become whenever you talk to people, use talk demo, whenever you've got your finger pointing out and you're talking to people with the power coming back to you, meaning, what does that mean? That activity, you can't GPS, when we say GPS, you can't course correct a parked car. If you're not applying these things that we're sharing with you in this focus group, if you're not taking bits and pieces of it and applying it in your business life, even at the smallest degree every single day, then this information is not being metabolized, right? it just went straight, it just went straight. You took it in, but it just went straight through you, right? You didn't get any benefit out of it, because in order for nutrition to have any kind of benefit to you, then you have to metabolize it in order for it to have any impact. It's the same with this information. You using this information, taking it to the marketplace, having some activity. Now, whenever you have the activity and you come back with feedback, here's what's happened as a result of me doing XYZ. I've done this, 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 this. Now, this was the result. What could I have done better? What could I have done different? What do you suggest? That's part of the focus group. So the feedback that we get from these groups and from each one of you is very crucial, because I want you to think about, and I've used this example with several of the people that have reached out and communicated with me. I mentioned here that literally the RIMAN is a brand new company. It really is a brand new company inside of the US. And so with that, there comes challenges, no question about it. There comes challenges at every level. So whenever you think about yourself being, I'm going to say we're literally pioneers. This is the first focus group. This is the first. So you're truly pioneering. You're blazing the trail. I want you to think about yourself. You're going through the jungle with the machete, carving out a trail for somebody to walk behind you, so they have a little bit smoother track for them to run on, right? So then the path gets wider, and then it becomes a wider trail, and then before you know it, then it becomes graveled, and then before you know it, then cars can travel on it, and then before you know it, it's got coming both ways, and then before you know it, it becomes an asphalt road, and then before you know it, it becomes a highway. I need you to see yourselves as those pioneers in this space with this focus group. There's going to be things that we're going to learn through this that don't work. There's going to be things that, okay, that's not the way. We don't do it. The whole point of this is, how do we find the fastest way for the person to get to become wherever they want to be, right? Wherever that offset is. And so,
go ahead. Finish it.
I mean,
go ahead. Okay.
No, go ahead.
I think of this. I know most of you have seen an architectural, not remnant, but an architectural drawing, okay, of a new building. You go down and you see buildings, and they're breaking ground on some place, and it's got the picture up there on a billboard of what this building looks like. Okay, that's an architectural rendering of what the building is going to be like. If you do any work and remodeling on your house, you generally have an architectural rendering, okay, this is what it's going to look like. But then you know what they do with the rendering? Before that building, that rendering that they have put out the billboard where all this work is going on, they now have to go back and draw up blueprints, okay? Then they have to correct the blueprints. They're not changing what the business is. The building's going to look like. They're not changing that. We're not changing that with these focus groups. We know what the building looks like, but we're getting a artist rendering of it. And then through these focus groups, we're going to start dialing in, okay, especially on focus group 2, what this architecture, what the blueprints look like. And then on focus group 3, the last quarter of this year, what we're going to do is start building it. And then guess what? We're going to start moving in January. That's all, okay? Bulletproof vest, give you as many illustrations as we can possibly give you to say nobody is ever going to be part of focus group 1, okay? May, June, July. After July, that's the last time anyone will be part of focus group 1. You're part of a special group that's going to be part of a special, very special recognition part that's going to go on for years for you guys, okay?
Yeah.
So anyway.
But I wanted to talk, because I wanted to kind of close in with this. So I want you to think about, because we talked about 80, 15, and 5. And we talked about it from a perspective of 80% of your business being that person that wants to make $500 to $1,000.
Offset the grocery bill with you.
Right? The offset. Then 15%, $500 to $1,000 a week, and 5% being $500 to $1,000 a day, right? So whenever we use language and the things that we've talked about, touched on today, whenever we talked about the 4 stories, those 4 components, that's part of the language, right? That becomes we're identifying the audience as an 80, 15, and 5. We're using some of the language, which is the 4 components, the change your face, change your finances, the I don't know about that, the use talk demo. Those are the handles in the language piece that we're talking about. We talk about in behavior, like how you bring them in, how you bring them up, those things that they start coming, you start seeing how these pieces start falling in together. But I want to talk about 80, 15, and 5 from a perspective of being a pioneer. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I'm going to use relationships as an example. And whenever I talk about relationships, meaning a relationship that you would have with a husband and wife, a relationship that you would have with a parent, a relationship that you could have with a company,
with a sibling, with a best friend,
a relationship you could have with a product. I'm going to talk about it from that perspective. What is the 80% whenever we're talking about a relationship and how we see? Because 80, 15, and 5, what does that add up to? That adds up to 100. So there's no relationship in your life, whether that's with your church or with your spouse or with your best friend or with your parents. There's no relationship that you have that's 100% perfect. It doesn't exist. It's and it would be naive on your part to think that it does. So
not naive to want it.
Right.
Everyone wants that perfect relationship with husband and wife and children and neighbors and siblings and all the people you work. Everybody wants it. It's desirable, but it isn't achievable.
Right. And so think about 80%. I want you to think about your first love, right? You think about the love of your life. And whenever you first got together and like how everything was so amazing, and like whenever they call ladies, whenever they called or they texted you, and how you had all the butterflies and the goosebumps and you couldn't wait, and like how you put on the pretty dress for the date, and whenever he came and opened the car door for you, and whenever he pulled out the chair for you, and whenever he opened, let you in, whenever he helped you with your jacket, and I want you to think about those things whenever you first came into that relationship and how that felt, right? So we've all had those experiences at some level, at some point in your life. And guys, I'm not trying to negate you. This goes both ways. I am talking to the ladies as to how I would relate to this. So you start the relationship and it's amazing, and everything is about it's the butterflies, and oh my gosh, he's just so sweet, and he's just so perfect, and
K-beauty.
and then what happens is that you get married, and then you move in together. Guys, what happens whenever you first start moving in with somebody? And remember remember what that was like, and getting used to adjusting, like whenever they leave the toilet seat up, or they don't pick up their socks, or they leave their dirty underwear on the floor. That
goes both ways.
I don't leave the toilet seat up. Whenever they don't whenever they don't squeeze the toothpaste right, or they don't put the lid back on. I mean, can we just talk about like those kind of things, like how bringing two relationships together under one roof, and all the different quirks that you learn about this person, that you thought that they were perfect, but then you realize they're not perfect, and they've got a few little quirks that not so cute anymore, right? And then you start being exposed to some of the things like you really like whenever they do this, right? Whenever they really do this one thing that just annoys you and just really makes you annoyed, like you're annoyed, right? So I want you to think about all those different lanes, like 80%, the love. And I want you to think about the 15 that's questionable. And I want you to think about the 5% that absolutely sucks about that relationship. Now, if you were in a relationship, in a real relationship, what causes you to take your eyes off the 80%? Is it usually whenever you start, you've had life and you're not taking care of each other and things start happening, things start going really fast. And so before you know it, those leaving the socks on the floor, leaving their dirty underwear laying around the toilet seat up, you start noticing those things a little more frequently, don't you? And then you just start getting really kind of annoyed. And you start looking at, then before you know it, those things start adding up. They start having babies of all the different things that you're getting annoyed with and frustrated about, right? And if you stay in that 15% long enough, before you know it, you're going to be in the 5%, meaning that now just looking at them gets on your last nerve. Just by them walking across the floor gets on your last nerve. Now, I'm sharing these things because this is how relationships work. Now, you may be in a situation right this minute that you go, wow, I'm hanging out in the 15% right now with my particular relationship. So how do you get out of that space? How do you get out if you may be in the 5% right now. You may be in a situation with your loved one that you're just absolutely.
And your loved one could be a dog, it could be a husband, it could be a neighbor, it could be a sister.
Okay. So what happens? How do you keep your eyes off of that 5%? How do you keep your eyes out of the 15%? You've got to keep your eyes on the 80%. If you want to stay out of the 15%, you got to go back to the 80. If you're in the 5% right now, you got to go back to, how do you get back to the 80? You got to go back to the first love. You got to go back to the reasons why you fell in love with that person to begin with. Whenever they touched your hand and gave you butterflies, whenever they kissed you softly, whenever they said, oh, baby, I love you so much, right? You've heard this phrase before, what you look at longest becomes strongest. Now I'm going to equate it to, and listen, I might, if you guys need a marriage counselor, hey, I promise you that probably just would save a lot of marriages right there. Just that concept right there in and of itself. But now I'm going to equate it to a company. Now I'm going to equate it to with RIMAN. And I'm equating it to, I want you to remember, I want you to think about where you are right now. I want you to think about why you joined RIMAN. I want you to think about all the things, why you loved the product, why you bought the product,
Focus group,
why you decided to join, why you went for the fact that you wanted to join the focus group, why, all of those things that you're so excited about. First love, 80%. Now I want you to think about some things that may have happened to you over the last week, maybe the last month, that's got your eyes off of the 80%. Because it's gonna, and if it hasn't happened, hang around long enough, and I promise you it will. Hang around long enough, it's going to happen. And you hang around long enough there, and it can very easily go into a 5%. Are you guys tracking with what I'm saying? My point in sharing this with you is that you are pioneers. And with pioneering and paving the way and carving out trails, there's going to be bumps and bruises, and there's going to be scrapes and skint knees, right? There's going to be a lot of those things that are placed in front of you. But I promise you, in the end, it'll be well worth all the bumps and bruises. But I'm going to challenge you whenever you find yourself looking at the things that are questionable and the things that maybe you just absolutely finding you don't like. I'm going to challenge you to go back to the first love. I'm going to challenge you to keep your mindset in the 80% and what you have in your hand, what you have with the RIMAN story, what you have with these products, and how truly people are changing their face and truly changing their finances. And and just going back and listening to this and thinking about and challenging yourself, and whether you're doing this with a relationship or whether you're doing this with a company or a loved one, like this is a skill set, this is a mindset that will serve you for the rest of your life. And so I hope you got some value out of that. And I hope that you really take inventory of where you truly are with your thinking, and whether it's with someone you love or whether it's with a company or whatever that is, that you start evaluating that from that perspective. So
I thought that was pretty cool. Okay. 80, 15, and 5, as far as you dealing with the relationships of neighbors, it doesn't matter. Okay. 80, 15, and 5. And there's always, okay, enough of 80% value in a relationship. And if you take your eyes off of that imperfection of the 15%, and by the way, I always put down the toilet lid, and I always never let down my underwear. I want to promise you, I don't do those two things. There's too much. We got 6 daughters. There's too much estrogen around here to fall into that fun. You know what I mean? That's one you got to learn quick. Okay. But anyway, when you take a look at the 80, 15, and 5, okay, that's where you got to stay as a husband and a wife, a father and a son, a mother and a daughter, a sister and a brother. You got to stay there to see that true value, because they have it, okay? And if you get your eyes, as Taylor said, off of that, you adrift with like a boat without an anchor. You adrift into the 15% automatically. And if you don't catch yourself, you will find yourself focusing where that GPS directional is taking you, and when over here, that's what's happening. Okay. And if you stay over there long enough, you got just get 1 foot into the 15 from the 80. And the next thing you know, you're leaning a little bit. Then the next thing you know, you got just your heel in the 15% and one leg over there, but just your heel from the other one. And you try it out. And now you got the whole foot over there. Now, guess what you're doing with that relationship with RIMAN, with any business, with any neighbor, with any child. You now start looking at that. And guess what that does then? Keeps you from doing your daily method of operation as a wife, as a husband, as a mother, as a child. It keeps you from doing that because you don't feel good about you, it, and them that we talked about so many times, and will continue. And then if you stay there, you got 2 feet in the 15.
Yep.
2 feet. Okay. And guess what? One of those feet start drifting into the 5. And guess what? I've seen people making $50, $60, $100,000 a month and more, and miss 80, 15, and 5 and leave. Okay. Or do things that are stupid to cause a divorce with their company, things like that. Or this is wrong and that's wrong. When are they going to get this right? What about that? Who do you think you are? There's no perfection. Okay. That happened 2,000 years ago. Okay. There was only one. Okay. That was only one. Okay, so what we're trying to pass on to you is common sense practices. We've got a lot of experiences here. Okay, we got a lot to share with you guys, and it's only this much. Okay, no matter what you've got out of our sharing with you so far, it's this much. Wait till you get to the end of focus group 1, and we start focus group 2, and then when it's really going to hit you, focus group 3, and when it's going to blow you away that you got the relationship that you want forever is going to be when we start January. And then guess what? It's going to rain and you're going to pull yourself back. It's going to storm and you're going to pull yourself back. But guess what? You got the skills to do it. You got the skills. You want to be able to have the skill. You're not going to eliminate the 80, 15, and 5 in any relationship, but you got the skills to identify it and get back. That's called value.
It's so good. It's so good. This is such a great analogy, and it was actually Larry that taught me this. So, with my youngest daughter, with all the girls, he taught them all how to drive. Like, they would sit on he had them driving on our tollway at 9 and 10 years old by themselves. Okay. So whenever they were little, like, they sat in his lap initially, like, learning how to drive. And the best concept that for them as a new driver, thinking about 9 and 10 years old, think about how young that is, but constantly telling them, the car goes where you look. 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 Now, I want you to think, we don't think about that when we're driving. We take that for granted. But that's how they train race car drivers. Race car drivers driving at twice the speed, going around a track. What do they teach them? The car goes where you look. If you're driving at a fast, accelerated speed, you better keep your eyes on the road and where you want to go. My point in saying that is that if you are veering off right this minute, if you're veering off the road, the car's going where you're looking. If you're in the 15 and the 5, whatever that is, whatever the situation, the car goes where you look. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? And that's such a great analogy for mindset. It's such a great analogy to stay focused on what your job description is every single day. And your job description every single day is use, talk, demo. Your job description every day is talk to people. What are you going to talk to them about, right? You're going to talk to them about your products and your opportunity. That's your job description. So, guys, the car goes where you look.
I got one more thing to add to that driving lesson. Okay. There's two things. One, the car goes where you look. Guess what the second one was? Think about it for a minute. The brakes are not your friend.
Oh.
The brakes are not your friend.
Ooh.
Control is your friend.
That's so
as
good.
Being able to stay focused. Okay. Yes. Okay. The car goes where you look. But what do you do? Remember when you start driving? Okay, and some of you do today. You get all nervous when there's cars around you. What else do you do? You start going to the brake. You're in this business, and what we're doing here, the car goes where you look. That's what you're looking at. Use, talk, demo. That's what you're looking at. I don't know about that. All I know is this. What you're looking at, change my face, change your finances. And guess what? Get off the brakes. Because that will take you, no matter what you're looking at, that does this, okay?
Yeah.
Don't take your foot off the brake, okay? I had a mind here. We're not going to do it tonight. We'll do it next week. I'm hoping. I want to talk to you about the fried bologna sandwich. Okay. The fried bologna sandwich. Okay.
That's so good.
And let me tell you, that the car goes where you look. Take your foot off the gas, off the brake. Okay. Fried bologna sandwich ties right into that. And you say, what the heck is that? Tune in next week. Okay.
Well, actually, okay.
It's only an extra $100.
Okay, so actually, we're not going to be meeting next week.
Is that 4th of July or something?
No. So here's the thing.
I had a number for restaurant upstairs.
Oh yeah, go upstairs. I'll pay somebody to open.
The next week will be next Monday. That's going to be July announcements. So we won't be conflicting with the company. So that's on July the 1st. So make note of that. You want to tune into the July announcements for the month. And then our next focus group meeting would be on July the 8th.
Yeah.
So we're coming down to the end of the month. And end of the month, what does that mean? If you have new managers that have qualified, what are they going to do? Where are you going to have them go? It's glowupgig.com/qualify. And so we can make sure that they are qualified so they can participate in July's focus group meetings. So if you have a new one that's qualified as manager, it's their job to go and put their information in. Glow Up Gig, if somebody can type that in for me, glowupgig.com/qualify. And that's how they get the emails. That's how they get the notifications when the focus group is going to be on. And then they're also going to get the invitation to come into the Wealth Building focus group so you can get recordings of all the meetings that we do here. So
I gotta say this, okay? It would be so easy for me to talk to people about you change your face, change your finances, and you got to become a manager now to get on the focus group because the next training is going to be on the fried bologna sandwich. You got to become a manager now. So let's get more milk out of the cow, guys. It's going to be good.
So I hope you guys got some value out of today. We're going to close it up. So let's get unmuted here. We want to go out like we came in with lots of energy so we can change our face, change your finances. Y'all ready? Get unmuted now. We're going to count to 3. Let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.